Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I'm excited to say that the night version of Siege of Shanghai is receiving a brand new form of Levolution that we've never seen before. You guys know that the CTE is constantly being updated. Every week there seems to be some small adjustment here and there, and with the most recent update, we now have the ability to completely black out a certain section of the map. Currently, this little light switch is between the A and B capture point, and all you really have to do is mosey on over, hit your interact button. Instead of having a mall section or all the streets with all the signs illuminated, you flip the switch and everything plunges into darkness, and it gets really, really dark. And so if you are a player who wants to take advantage of his infrared night vision scope, and you know that a lot of the enemy team is only using the red dot sight, not with a flashlight, and you want to put them at a severe disadvantage, well, then it might be a good idea to head on over to this light switch and to turn everything off. On the flip side though, if you are using a red dot sight and you don't fancy to use the flashlight attachment because you don't want to give the enemy a clear beacon to shoot at when you're running down the street, then it might be a good idea to run on over and flip this thing back on. I love this type of Levolution because while it's not a skyscraper falling on over, it's not as flashy or as cool as a mudslide covering half the map, it is going to dynamically change the way you attack and defend these objectives, and also applying more strengths and weaknesses and advantages depending on what loadout you are running. The thing about it though is that certain attachments aren't adjusted yet for the night combat. The flashlight, for example, while it's fairly realistic, I mean, if you shined a flashlight into a massive city like this, it's not going to illuminate or pierce through all of the darkness. It's going to be a little hazy out there, and it's still going to be very difficult to identify if that is an enemy way out in the distance. But I'm finding that there really isn't enough incentive right now to use the flashlight, because when you are using it yourself, it doesn't really give you all that much of an advantage. But if you are on the receiving end, or you see someone use a flashlight, it is a easy bright beacon out in the distance, and I have no problem taking out those players. And so I think that if they want to get more people to use the flashlight attachment, which would be great for a night map, you would think that would be something that would be quite common, then they might want to slightly increase its brightness. I don't want it to be a holy nova at the end of the barrel, that's not what I'm looking for, but I don't think that it should be constantly squinting at my monitor screen, looking and trying to identify if that is an enemy out in the distance. If they make that small adjustment, I could see myself using it a lot more often, but at least in its current state, I just feel like it's a little bit too underpowered. That being said though, I am loving this form of Levolution. I know that a lot of Battlefielders were hoping that this was going to be a part of the night combat experience, and it looks like DICE has delivered with flying colors. They've also mentioned that they want more sections of the map to be connected with these blackout switches and to have multiple blackout switches scattered around everywhere. And so I am really interested to see where all of this leads. It sounds amazing. It really does look like they are going for that true night combat experience and not just something that has the illusion of night combat like what they normally do with their original Battlefield maps. And so I am really excited to see what they deliver on. One thing that took me by surprise, and I was not expecting in the slightest, is that they've added back in Conquest Assault. You may remember this from the Battlefield 3 DLC Strike at Karkan, and this has also been a game mode since like the dawn of time in Battlefield. And while it works very similar to normal Conquest, where you're trying to attack and defend objectives, the twist on it is that there is an offense and a defensive team. When you're on offense, you start in your deployment like a standard round of Conquest, but the twist on it is that if you are on defense, you hold all of the capture points. To make sure that the offensive team isn't at a huge disadvantage at the very beginning, you also have a couple more tickets at your disposal so that you can hopefully establish a foothold quickly enough, and then it turns into more of your standard Conquest round. But what I love about it is that the first couple of minutes is basically an all-out war for those few capture points. Because you know exactly where the team is and they're all gonna rush basically towards A, I mean that's the first one you run into. If you're on the defender's side, you can have this all-out war, much like you would experience on Rush, around that objective. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be making it to normal Battlefield. They may just be testing some things out right now, but if you are looking for a dash of nostalgia, you love the game mode from Battlefield 3, and hopefully you did because it was a lot of fun, then I highly recommend that you jump onto the CTE, not only just to experience the night combat, but also to play on a game mode that we have never been able to experience in Battlefield 4. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today. today's little update. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about the new Levolution. Do you like the fact that there is going to be these Blackout switch scattered around the map? Do you think that it is an awesome addition into the game? Personally, I think it is amazing, but let me know down below. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.